Tampons, the new next generation of wearable technology. You've heard of the Oura Ring. Now there's a thing that could actually collect your menstrual blood, diagnose your gynecological conditions. Or can it? So researchers are increasingly interested in menstrual blood because it's easy to collect and it's packed with information. It contains cells from the lining of your womb, as well as your immune cells, inflammatory markers, contains something about your hormones. And early studies have shown patterns in menstrual blood that could help distinguish people who have certain conditions. For example, endometriosis, and that allows us to distinguish them from other people who don't have those conditions. So in the future, it could feed into lab tests, or you could have smart sensors that sit inside a pad or a tampon. Now it matters because endometriosis is thought to affect around 1 in 10 people with a uterus, and there's a really long delay before people get diagnosed. People also often need invasive procedures to tell them if they've got endometriosis, like a laparoscopy to confirm it. So if we can pick up on signals from your menstrual blood earlier, it could shorten that journey and also potentially avoid the need for these invasive procedures. Now, there are some companies that are already partnering with labs to help collect samples through tampons or pads as part of research in the hope we can build these future tools. But it's crucial we need to be clear about where we are right now. At the moment, no commercial pad or tampon can safely replace a proper clinical assessment or offer a standalone diagnosis of a condition like endometriosis or fibroids or infections. There's a lot of promising work that you can see in the headlines, but it's happening still in research settings, small groups of volunteers, and needs larger peer-reviewed studies and regulatory approval before it becomes routine medical tests. So if you've got pain or bleeding or discharge that worries you, the next step is still a clinician who can take a history, examine you, arrange investigations if needed. And I always think that there's a bit of a risk that we're in a time of data overload. We get all this information from things like Oura Rings, Apple Watches, wearable smart tampons, but how do we interpret all these numbers? And if we're using these tests, we need to be able to pick up who definitely needs further testing without unnecessarily picking up people who don't. Otherwise, we could be worrying people who are completely well, who don't have issues. So it's got to be a good thing to have better availability of easy to access tests that are potentially cheaper than invasive tests. But I'd still say the jury's out at the moment as to whether this really will become part of our practice in the future. So is this the sort of thing that you would take up, smart period products, or are you moving away from electronic things and gimmicks and wearable technology?